What's up, the squad? Back with another video. Y'all seen that title was going down. Make sure you hit the like button, hit that subscribe button for me, please. Y'all see it right here. Definitely, I know a lot of y'all probably didn't watch my last video. Y'all see I have my Grinch onesie on. We do have two girls. A little festive, I'm not even gonna lie. I used to not be like at all, but having two girls, yeah, it definitely gets like that. I'm not gonna lie. It definitely gets like that. Not to mention Chris, you know, she has pushed me, you know, to be a little bit more festive because I wouldn't say that I wasn't, you know, too much, but I definitely, you know, I wasn't that much. But y'all see it, you know, Merry Christmas, you know, to all. Videos, I'm pretty sure we'll be posting on Christmas. Probably later. You know, I know a lot of y'all probably like, Recklezz, it's okay, you know, enjoy time with family, trust me. You know, we definitely do. You know, every night. We have a family that love movies and stuff like that, building Legos. So definitely love, you know, not only do that, but to also get out the truth. Says here, Randy Fine says he is working on getting Ilan Omar deported. And definitely see it coming. Definitely. Says, I think Ilhan Omar engaged in immigration fraud and she's covering up Medicaid fraud. Not only that, supposedly marrying her brother. So it's a lot. Check it out.
We've got a lot of problems with a lot of Democrats, and I think we need to get to the bottom of the issues with Ilhan Omar. I think she engaged in immigration fraud. I think she's covering up Medicaid fraud, and we've got to ask ourselves, why do we want a community in this country where 80% of the people who've been here for decades are on welfare and they're stealing billions of dollars? I want Ilhan Omar to lead the transit back home of all of these people.
Telling y'all. Definitely. And it ain't even, I can't stand, you know, when people, you know, push out, you know, this whole race thing when it comes down to it. It ain't got nothing to do with that. It's individuals literally within this fraud and stealing from taxpayers. It's all the crime, you know, that's adding to the crime that's already here that's trying to get, resolved. You know, there's a lot. This is more from Randy Fine. Just now he's working on something every American, you know, has been wanting to hear. Check it out.
Well, I agree with the president 100%. Ilan Omar is a walking example of everything that is wrong with our legal immigration policy. We imported tens of thousands of people who hate America, add no value to it, rob and steal from us. And we're supposed to be okay with it. I don't think Ilhan Omar should be expelled from Congress. I think she should be expelled from the United States. And that's something that I'm working on. But what prompted me to take this position is she decided to send around fundraising emails saying I should be expelled from Congress. Well, if that's her view, she should go for it. And so what I've said is if I'm going to try to expel her, it won't be in a fundraising email. She'll deal with it on the floor of the U.S. House of Representatives.
Come on now. I'm telling y'all. Definitely geek for it. And I know y'all are too. Definitely. Just check it out.
Can I
see how into now she is, y'all.
your response to Tom Homan saying you're under investigation for immigration, possible immigration violations? Just any response you have to what he's saying in the public.
I have a response because I don't know what they'll be investigating.
So you don't think they would find anything?
Absolutely not.
Why do you think they keep bringing this up in the
They're
media?
sick.
Because they're sick. No, what's sick is the simple fact, you know, is that you're doing this, you know, in Minnesota, that you're allowing this to happen. What's sick is the simple fact that you married your sibling. Like I'm confused. I'm truly confused, you know, and I truly do not get it. Again, this is Tim Walz. Blaming everybody but himself and his constituents. Saying that President Trump is targeting Minnesota to distract from the crimes Trump is being investigated for, supposedly. Whatever that's supposed to mean. Let's check it out.
I think it's pretty clear to all of us exactly what this president is doing. He's targeting states and communities that he has a national political fight against and that he doesn't agree with. It's also a distraction from his own personal crimes that are out there being investigated while he's harassing others. So as Minnesotans, on January 1st, your healthcare costs are going to skyrocket. Groceries aren't any cheaper. Your community's no safer. And we have people that won't even communicate the most basic things among safer.
Your community. Oh, wait.
These aren't any cheaper. Your community's no safer.
Duh. I mean, he's literally having, it's literally said they're having gang wars in the apartments, in the apartment buildings. Nah, safer. I mean, look at the Somalians. Like, I'm just confused.
And we have people that won't even communicate the most basic things amongst law enforcement, as we've always worked together. And it never mattered before who the administration was until
I told y'all the things I do for my daughters, y'all. I have this thing that's on my, if y'all can see this, I think it's messing with my allergies a little bit, or it got in my nose. I don't know what happened, but I apologize. I had to sneeze.
this one. So this is what happens when your own federal government wages war against you. This is what happens when they target communities for their own benefit. This is what happens when they scapegoat. And this is what happens when they no longer hide the idea of white supremacy. When you hear the Vice President of the United States talk about now white people won't have to apologize for being white. That's never happened once in my whole damn life. And I think everybody in this room knows what they're doing. So we're here today to say enough of this.
If y'all have never seen a walking cornball that talks, y'all have today. Looking at him, I'm not even gonna lie. He definitely does not make any type of sense whatsoever. You literally have it right here. This is breaking. This is a new post. Y'all go check it out. Eric Daugherty. Minnesota mayors and citizens are getting furious that Tim Walz has destroyed virtually every economic indicator of their state while allowing Somalians to steal billions of dollars. I'm telling you, a lot of this just doesn't make, like, they literally do not take accountability whatsoever for their actions.
6 out of 50, all across a backdrop of one of the highest overall tax rates in the country, the second highest actually, and the 6th highest income. And so when you look at how are we going to pay for all this, we have to start talking about how do we provide the inputs to the outputs, meaning a robust economy puts pay into the system that allows us to invest in our infrastructure and where appropriate social services and a safety net. But we've come from an $18 billion surplus in this biennium, looking forward 2 years to a $2 to $3 billion deficit. Someone's going to have to pay for that. And what I think about for our local folks is what are the trade-offs that are going to be made in the investments in infrastructure. 6 out of 50.
Telling y'all, definitely sickening. And there's a lot of individuals, Minnesota mayors, Minnesota citizens, that are literally tired. They're sick and tired of it. I'm telling y'all, just even looking at all this, 39th in job growth, 40th in labor force growth, 44th in tech job growth. You literally having all this. It's not it. I'm telling y'all, not at all. Says Minnesota mayor just erupted on Tim Walz for worrying about offending Somali fraudsters. Check it out.
Well, I don't understand what difference that makes to anyone else. How would anyone else be approached or confronted if they stole money from someone? They would all be acknowledged and have to go forward with the consequences of their actions. You know, we're sitting here bearing the brunt of everything: tax hikes, gas taxes, property taxes, boating taxes, gas taxes. We can't go anywhere. We can't go fishing, and he's afraid to offend someone. Well, what about me? I know my town, we're all offended that we're paying for all of this fraud to go on, and it's just coming out now when they've known about it for years. What's going to happen now? And let's just call it what it is. It's stealing. It's not,
Exactly.
It's stealing. You're stealing from the state of Minnesota. You're stealing from the taxpayers that make this state the great state that it is. And how are we going to recoup from that?
Exactly.
Well,
I feel like so many
understand what
people
difference that makes
aren't
to,
actually, paying attention, when it comes down to, the real about this stuff, the actual real, when it comes down to it. There's people that's, and honestly, I can't, one thing about it, as I'm thinking about this, if y'all watched my last video, within Chicago, you have, well, I can't even say that, because the citizens, the residents that's in Chicago feel a different way, about, Brandon Johnson. They feel some type of way about him, and I can say the same thing about Minnesota, especially, you have it in Minneapolis. You can see, you can definitely tell that the residents are literally sick and tired of what, they're doing. You know, they're seeing, you know, the Somalians and, you know, obviously Minnesota as a whole, but they see how bad it is. You know, they're seeing. I can't even say that, you know, there's residents that are supporting this. And there's probably, you know, some, but a lot of it has to do with those Somalians. I'm telling y'all. Check it out, Stephen Miller.
Up to. Why are they engaged in all this? What is their objective here? It's the Somalification of America. In other words, when you see the state of Somalia, that's what they want for America at the end of the day, because it's easier to rule over an empire of ashes than it is for the Democratic Party to rule over a functioning, Western, high-trust society with a strong middle class. Look how powerful the Democrat Party became in Minnesota once they flooded it with 100,000 Somalians. Once the elections were decided, right, by clan rivalries and ethnic feuds. Once that happened, the Democrat Party became permanently powerful in Minnesota. They became permanently powerful in the Twin Cities. That's their model for America, to make the whole country into a version of Somalia. And everything they do gets down to that. So when you ask me what I'm thankful for this Thanksgiving, I praise God every day that Donald Trump is our president. And we've gone from 30% inflation, 20 million illegals, unlimited refugees.
I'm telling y'all. I feel like everybody is wanting that, you know, as they wanted it for Thanksgiving, they wanted it for Christmas is, you know, literally, and I know this, I don't want to make this sound bad. I know a lot of y'all are going to say it's not, you know, but truly to, you know, fix a lot, you know, that's going on, especially, you know, within these Somalians, but not only just the Somalians. The whole, everybody, you know, when it comes to Keith Ellison, when it comes to Ilan Omar, Tim Walz, you know, and many more, you know, that has a lot to do with it. I showed y'all this yesterday, literally. This is a post from Nick Shirley. Nick Shirley definitely, one thing about Nick Shirley that I'll continue to, you know, to say is that I definitely apply him for the things that he's doing. One thing about it that I definitely would love for him to do is to try to, and I don't know if he does, he probably does, you know, have that security because people are, you know, pretty wild, you know, and he does, you know, get out there and do a lot of work when it comes down to it. Says this is a prime example of the billions of dollars in fraud happening right now in Minnesota. This is one of the hundreds of daycares receiving millions of dollars from the government. This daycare that can't even spell learning right, and y'all going to see, it says learning center, received $1.9 million in tax-exempt funding from CCAP in 2025. This is just one of the thousands of fraudulent business operating in Minnesota. Check it out.
Here in Minnesota, massive fraud is taking place within the government and the Somali population. Here, this building alone, Quality Learning Center, is a daycare, yet they spelled learning wrong, and they said leering. This daycare alone in 2025 has received $1.9 million from the government. And the strange things about these childcare centers is there's no one here right now. It's midday on a weekday. And if you were to try to go inside, it's completely closed and the windows are all blacked out. No one's working, midday. Children should be in here. And this place is licensed for 99 children. And this is the outside. There's no windows, no nothing. And like I said, they literally spelt the word wrong on their sign. This is open.
The simple fact that it says Quality Learning Center, quality, it's nothing like it's not at all. Like they tried to make it look nice. How do you, matter of fact, I'm gonna go further than that. This sign ain't even centered with the door. This sign not even centered with the door. I almost want to call this number. I want to see if that number actually works, y'all.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach is...
So they don't even have, this is, I literally just called the number, this learning center or luring center. It's not going through.
Your call has...
It's not going through at all. This is Quality Learning Center. This is nothing. You know, usually, you know, you have that, you know, when you're calling the business and it's Christmas, you know, leave a message, you know, if you want your child to such, none of that. You know, y'all see it just went straight to voicemail. Nothing. It's nothing there. Pretty insane, y'all.
open and blatant fraud taking place here inside of Minnesota. The government is complicit with this, and this is just one of the hundreds of child daycare centers here inside of Minneapolis being ran by the Somali population. It's sad that it's happening here in Minnesota, and it stinks that it's happening and it's being labeled on the Somali population. However, that's just the facts of what's happening here inside of Minnesota. $1.9 million for this daycare center that can't even spell learning right.
The Learning Center. That's the first Learning Center I've ever seen. I'm not even gonna lie. There's probably many more in Minnesota, or wherever you see. I'm gonna stop. I'm not even gonna say anything else. I'm trying to be nice today. It is Christmas Eve. Minnesota parents are furious after state Democrats are forcing their children to learn. Since we're talking about schools, listen to y'all. I know this is about to sound crazy. Forcing their children to learn in schools about. I have to say this word. Y'all know what I mean. About affirming transformers. Y'all know what that means. And supporting BLM. And many more. I'm telling y'all, it's definitely insane. Check it out.
In this week's episode of Coming to a Classroom Near You, we look at the new requirement to teach ethnic studies in all K-12 schools in Minnesota, which must be implemented in 2026. Ethnic studies includes 3 distinct standards: identity, resistance, and ways of knowing and methodologies. The Center for Race, Indigeneity, Disability, Gender, and Sexuality Studies at the University of Minnesota, or RIDGES, is converting these new ethnic studies standards into free lesson plans for school districts. RIDGES' self-declared mission is to challenge systems of power and inequality and imagine social transformation. Let's take a look at one of these taxpayer-funded lesson plans from the U of M. This first one is for 6th graders, 12-year-olds, and fulfills the Ethnic Studies Resistance Standard, which instructs students to organize and describe how individuals and communities have fought for freedom and liberation against systemic and coordinated exercises of power. It's called Protest Art and the Movement for Black Lives. Designed to take place over 3 days, the lesson focuses on...
So my thing is that there are so many things, and this is exactly why. And I know a lot of people are looking at the simple fact, like, my kid, we can't afford that right now, it's not even that you can't afford it. It's the simple fact that you don't really have time for that, because you do have to work. There are parents that have to work. There are parents that have to, really get out here and grind, and do things that where they only have that time, to help with homework, and help with, studies. They don't have that time to actually be engaged. Like, if I'm going to homeschool you, because our girls are, and Rennie, she's going to be, homeschool. She's, first in line for that. But this is exactly why. There's so many things, you can teach. I always said, when it comes to numbers are definitely, a big thing. There's a lot of things, to teach about, but BLM, I mean, come on. It's not right.
On the movement for Black Lives and the role of protest art in mediating power in the city. Students will watch a video about George Floyd Square produced by Unicorn Riot, a nonprofit left-wing media collective that films Antifa and Black Lives Matter rallies across the country. Students will also learn how local artists responded to the death of George Floyd during the 2020 riots through mural art. Students will create their own protest art for a cause of their choice. They will even research where in the city the art could go. One of the suggestions for protest art from the U of M is defunding the police. Next, they will work through the Black Lives Matter Principles Activity Book, which features all 13 Black Lives Matter principles and definitions. The principles reflect the organization's thoughts on families, disrupting the Western prescribed nuclear family structure, and transgender affirmation to dismantle cisgender privilege.
I'm not gonna lie. If I could open up a school, I definitely would for individuals. It's like I definitely would do my best. This right here is just not it. Like, I've never seen nothing like this. And I've seen, obviously, I've did videos and looked at videos, of, different scenarios, different situations of, this teacher taught my kid in the whole classroom this book about this individual. This, I've seen stuff like, but a whole school act. This is actually in their agenda. This is like what they're doing. I haven't seen nothing like this. I would definitely be pulling my kid out of school.
Again, this will be coming to all Minnesota public schools beginning in 2026.
That's wild.
When ethnic studies was presented to the Minnesota legislature in 2023, it was portrayed as the study of different cultures, students seeing themselves in the curriculum and learning honest history. But like so many other familiar terms, Minnesota's version of ethnic studies has been hijacked to apply a liberated approach to understanding our world. Minnesota students deserve a robust education that includes learning hard historical truths and frank discussions on where this country has fallen short, not one that is confined to a narrow, politicized, and ideological worldview. Recently, California rejected a statewide ethnic studies mandate because it was too divisive. How will Minnesota respond? To see more lesson plan
I'm not even gonna lie. Y'all in Minnesota, I definitely, I'm so sorry. This is why it is very, very important. It is very, very important to do your research on who you're voting for. This is why. I'm just saying. I truly don't get it. It gets worse. I said I was going to be nice today. It's Christmas Eve. A woman in Minneapolis breaks down in tears over Somalians being deported. She issued an apology on behalf of all Americans, not me. I'm not apologizing. I'm sorry. And I know y'all know. I'm not apologizing. So to all Americans, that's some BS. Don't put me in that. I'm not in that. I'm telling y'all, Recklezz family, we not in this conversation that this lady is putting out. Check it out.
Whether you are in my Senate district or not, I am here to tell you how much we are in support of every one of you. And with my colleagues, we are heartbroken by the horrible actions of our government. And we want you to know that at the state level, we will do all that we can to support you.
The simple fact that she's sitting here crying, bro.
All of our Senate DFL colleagues, including my House partner, Patty Acom, who wishes she could be here, but she's not. So please reach out to us, whether you live in our district or not.
The simple fact that she's literally crying. She's literally crying, bro. Apologizing to Somalians because this is the right, this right here goes to show you on how listen, I literally started this video. Y'all. It's frustrating. You start this video with Ilan Omar and working all the way down. Just think about it. Working all the way down to elected official. Crying because Somalians are getting deported and apologizing for what's done. And what's getting done. The right way. And I truly don't get that. One thing about it. Definitely let me know y'all comments, thoughts down below. I truly can't listen to what she got going on anymore. Just based on the fact that this is sickening. Definitely sickening. Make sure y'all hit the like button, hit that subscribe button. Definitely appreciate y'all. Much love to everybody and Merry Christmas to all. Catch y'all next one.